What did you see in practice today? What did you hope to get out of practice today?
It's practice 7, so we're right in the thick of it, and we'll watch the film. But we wanted to make sure we got a full day's work. We did that. I thought there was some good back and forth. I saw some improvements in the protection on offense. We were able to get the ball off and down the field. I thought better decisions at the quarterback position. That's been a point of emphasis in terms of the turnovers we've had early in camp. Some of that's just settling into a system, but inevitably that's where our focus needs to be offensively. I thought there was just a better job on the whole protecting the ball. I think there's a in the middle of camp there's always a availability question. We're beat up, and that's part of it. I think the guys are pushing. I don't see anything that's long term right now. There's going to be some issues that may not allow guys to return for spring ball, but nothing to this point that's going to be it's going to impact the fall. And obviously, we got eight left, 3 scrimmages. We're going to take full advantage of it all, and we can't hold back, and we can't wrap people in bubble wrap and hope. We gotta improve our on-field performance by playing more football, and that's what we're going to do.
How much of last year's injury issues that we saw in fall camp influence your approach with things now? What has changed there?
Well, we obviously did an overhaul on how we train the team and how we prepare the team for practice. I felt like we fell short in that respect in the fall. And the problem is when you incur those soft tissue issues early in fall, there's a domino or a ripple effect that happens where you may be compensating for a sore hamstring, and all of a sudden you're putting pressure on an ankle, and next thing you know, you got a sprained ankle. It's just it all links up, and so Coach Steiner and his staff have done a really nice job. But, and then you play football, and injuries happen. You can't concern yourself too much over that. But what we want to make sure is that our guys are fueled appropriately and trained appropriately, so that they're prepared to take on the task of going for 2 hours in a practice that's high intensity. And I do think in the winter, the 8 weeks of training helped that, and we pushed back the start of spring training as a result. Again, that would be an adjustment. We'll do the same as we get into the summer, where we're going to be attentive to, certainly the strength training and the conditioning, but it'll give way to playing football in OTA type settings as we get closer to fall camp. I got full confidence in what Rob's doing, and it's been I think the team is feeling the difference in terms of physically and their ability to sustain.
On Saturday, you weren't necessarily as pleased with the quarterbacks and the ball security. Did you think that was better today, and what have you been seeing improvement-wise from that situation? Yes, it was better today. We addressed it in our meeting on Monday as a team, and obviously that's something that Coach Beck puts his attention to daily. So sometimes as the head coach, you think that you bring it up and all of a sudden you fix a problem. That's just not the truth. It's day in, day out messaging. But what they need to understand, and I think this is what happens when you have a competition, is they're so pressed to make the big play. And the truth is the big play is born of the small decisions. And I've said it in the past, the small things done well. So, finding the back on a check down, getting the ball out in rhythm and on time, again, that'll help your protection out. And over time, it's about the defense's patience to rally to the ball down in front. But when you get the ball out to the back and ball out to the check down early, you create spatial issues for the defense. You test the ability to close the space and make a play in space. And in time, it's going to open up the shot because we're going to make a mistake on our side of the ball. So I saw more of that today, and everything we do is training. So that's not just something we do in team periods. That should be our mindset when we're in Skelly or any of the other segments. Make good decisions with the ball, get the ball out on time,
that helps your protection, that keeps the offense in rhythm, that keeps you on schedule, but more importantly, it doesn't put the ball in compromised positions.
You have obviously Drew, Nate, and Blaze right now, but you also have some quarterbacks that are coming in for the fall. So how do you handle a competition like that, where there's some guys who are here right now and then some guys who could push but are not here right now, You
gotta be willing to kind of wipe the slate clean, and again, it's just a matter of start with the end in mind. We're at the beginning point here where we say we're not making a decision until we have to, and so that means that what we're seeing right now is coach not under the pressure of having to figure out at the end of spring who the starter is. It's really just trying to improve the guys we have now and take advantage of the reps. Their exposure to the system and to practice will help them. But we reset when we get to the fall, and we let it fall to the guy that does the best job leading the offense.
You changed your system on offense. You got a bunch of new players. When you get to this point in practice, how much of it is, all right, we know this is what we're going to do, and we know this is what we have, and how much it is, this is what we want to do, we're trying to figure out what we have, and that drives the decision? Is it more like you guys have a pretty good grasp on where this is headed, or you're letting it play out to see what your options are?
We have there's a core foundation there, and some of that has to do with the evaluation of what the pieces we have are, and obviously you're always looking to enhance. I think the more skilled that you are at each position, it just unlocks the ability to do more. But the foundation or the core of who we are in offense has been established. That will evolve, or that will grow. It will grow from there, depending on the evaluations we make on who's showing up, who's flashing, who's strengthening as the spring goes on, and then we'll have one more chance to build into the roster in the spring portal window, and so you kind of can strategize around that based off what you feel like your needs are coming out of the spring. But part of that has to do with what the foundation of the offense is, and part of it has to do with where you need this offense to go once we get to the fall.
So it's fair to say, I guess, it's more the first, if we know what we're going to be, we're going to figure out where the pieces fit, rather than, okay.
And from there, you're talking about how the package evolves around the strengths of the players.
Yeah.
Coach, what have you noticed from some of your newcomers defensively that you brought in, whether they're freshmen or transfer guys?
There's been a real influx of energy. I think again, not short of going through everyone. Obviously, I've been really impressed with Colby Taylor. I think he's really had a nice spring, and I think there's some things for him that need to line up, and he's got to continue to strengthen his process. But that guy loves to compete, and he loves football. And when you think about the vision for this program, that statement in and of itself is so important. He loves to compete. He loves football. And so if there's going to be a competition involved or football involved, he's going to show up with high energy and high spirit. He's been impressive. Brandon Fontenot also as a guy that's made his presence felt on the field. I'm super excited about what he brings and the versatility he brings to the table. Corday also, as an edge player, has really established some leadership qualities, and we've been pleased with him. Dante Carter's a freshman, has flashed, and we have high hopes for what he can be. We need to give him time to develop into that, but certainly you can draw the line and see where he can help you in a winning performance in the fall. Excited for that. Callahan Blair and Mason Carter, both as young guys, are developmental, but they're getting a ton of reps right now, and I've been impressed with them. I mean, both of them have put on a bunch of weight since they've been here. Credit to Steiner and to their efforts. And then AJ made a big play at corner today. It's just like, it's fun to watch those young guys compete, and it's such an advantage to have them here early. And we'll be excited to welcome the rest of that class in June and any other additions we make. But certainly, we've been pleased with what the transfers in have brought to the table, and like I said, I think Dante's really established himself as a playmaker in our practice, and so we're excited for what that looks like as we continue to develop him.
Is it fair to say you're looking for the best 5 offensive linemen, and then you'll figure out where the pieces fit later at this point?
Yeah, that's right. And part of that is, and I've been so impressed with Coach Klanakis. I can see improvement, the focus on fundamental technical, development. They speak the same language. There's a focus in that room right now that I really like. I think they've been moving us up front at times and open up seams in the run game, and it's the duality of my role now. I mean, as frustrating as that can be as a defense coordinator, I mean, there's complexity to it, and there's an attitude to it that I like. That's gonna help change the identity of our program. So let's find the best 5. Let's be open to who that may or may not be. I think Coach Klanakis and Coach Beck and Coach Gill, for that matter, are starting to kind of familiarize themselves with who we have and what their skills are, and we got to give time for these young players too, that we have high aspirations for them to develop and hopefully, again, help in a winning performance in the fall. But encouraged by the progress that's been made. We're throwing a lot at them defensively. We're a little bit further along in our install, and I think that's typical. But I'm impressed with. I feel like every time we go out to practice, they've made certain adjustments and strengthened certain parts of their performance that are making some of the cheap wins that we were having maybe on day 1, day 2. They've taken those away, right? We're gonna have to earn our wins up front.
With Tim and Chris, you have 2 staffers who, obviously, with Tim having head coaching experience and then Chris having offensive coordinator experience, how helpful is that to have that much experience of coaches at a higher level than maybe the role they're coaching in right now?
Particularly as I've taken my attention to the defense, that's been life-changing for me, because there's so much that they're taking on, where I can shift my attention and not have to worry about it. They have it handled, and I think put Jerry in that mix too, because he really puts his focus on the offense, and then helps me with just bigger picture stuff and program alignment stuff that leaning on him and his experience has been so helpful to me. And it's incredible when you talk, especially for us, where we're building something here, and there is a gap we have to close. And from year 1 to year 2, we ate up some ground into it, and then it felt like the gap returned a season ago. And I think there are a lot of reasons for that, and I've spent a lot of time, and I'm kind of ready just to turn the page on it. But to say alignment in all areas of a college football program, it's so critical to the experience of the player. And when you talk about identity on the field, you're talking about alignment off the field. And no matter what the messaging is, right, it's how we actualize the messaging in all the small echo chambers around the team. And I think Jerry has built a career doing this. And so he can give me great perspective on, hey, these are the things that are functioning really well right now, and these are the things that we need to address. And that his insight has been, it's been really beneficial to me.
Anything else?
One more.
Yeah.
Klanakis has been an OC before and done it, I think, in an offense that does some things that you're looking to do. Where does that show up as an advantage as an offensive line coach? So I wouldn't think there's a lot of O-line coaches out there that have been coordinators too.
Yeah, his experience is it's so unique. Hopefully you guys get a chance to visit with him at some point about how the pistol formation came to be. I mean, this dude shows up with notebooks almost as old as I am, and most of us have gotten rid of the notebooks, the paper ones at least. He's got the wealth of knowledge he built with Coach Alt in the Nevada program. He left there when Coach retired and went to Southern Miss and picked up some gun stuff. He went back and combined it with the under center stuff when the pistol was born. And obviously that was Colin Kaepernick and all the success they had there. And then that time too at Louisville with Lamar Jackson and Bobby Petrino, and just the way, I defended some of those offenses. I mean, they were obviously, Lamar's a generational player, but they were really hard and challenging because they combined aspects of pro style offense and spread, and so none of that matters unless it can be coached and blocked up front.
Yeah.
None of it matters. You can have all the scheme you want, and unless it's taught well and trained well and executed, you're going to be below average. And I think his experience and the work he's done, the career he's built, again, I got so much confidence in what he's doing and how he's contributing to the vision of the offense Tim has. It's been really cool to see that come together.